Warning: Tsukihime is an adult visual novel with themes and depictions of sex, sexual violence, rape, gore, and abuse. Warnings will be placed before any of these pop up in the video, just be advised that these themes are in the story. Hello and welcome back to Tsukihime. Last time, Ciel's route came to a close with both her good and true endings. We have returned to the title screen, where a new story awaits. Quickly skipping through the opening and into Chapter 1, we arrive back at the first choice, Shiki's arrival at school, which is met with the sound of tools clanging nearby. This time, however, we ignore the unusual noise and head to class so as to not be late. Arriving earlier than he's used to, Shiki takes his seat and is greeted by an unexpected person.
Good morning, Tono-kun. An unfamiliar voice greets me. Eh? I turn around, confused. I don't remember if I gave her a voice. Considering what happened, there's definitely a reason. Tono-kun, the teacher was looking for you. He said he wanted to talk to you about your house. My home? Must be about me moving. I should have finished the formalities yesterday. Perhaps there's something I forgot to do. The girl doesn't move, but stands there looking at me. Good morning, Yumizuka. Yeah, good morning, Tono-kun. Looks like you remember my name. Sighing with relief, Yumizuka Satsuki gives a faint smile. I can remember the names of my own classmates, you know. It's just that I haven't spoken to you much. Yeah, I was a little nervous about talking to you. Yumizuka smiles again. She seems happy about something. Yumizuka continues to stare at me as if she wants to say something else. To be honest, I don't know her that well. Although we're in the same class, I can count the times we've spoken. But Yumizuka Satsuki is the center of attention. She's often the topic of conversation among the boys, and there aren't any bad rumors about her among the girls. In short, she's your typical class idol. Naturally, she's always surrounded by a crowd. She's the complete opposite of a loner like me. While I might be able to remember the name Yumizuka Satsuki, there's no reason for her to remember the name Tono Shiki. It seems like some bothersome coincidences are at work today. Tono-kun, can I ask you a question? If I can answer, you can ask as many as you want. I'm sorry if it's something personal, but you said you're moving. Are you going to move somewhere far away? Her voice trails off, as if it's hard for her to ask. She clasps her hands to stop fidgeting. I know it's sudden, but will you be transferring somewhere? Oh, no. I'm changing my residence, but not my school. My new house is still in this town anyway, so it's no big deal. Oh, that's good. Yumizuka sighs with relief. Huh? How odd. Why would someone like me moving cause that kind of reaction? But are you going to leave the Arimas? Yeah. I enjoyed living with them, but I can't leech off of them forever. Huh? How does Yumizuka know that? No one at this school should know I was living with the Arimas, except for a certain guy. What's up, Tono? A carefree, loud voice rings out from the classroom doorway. As if on cue, the guy who's been my friend since middle school appears. Hey, if it isn't Yumizuka. It's not often I see you talking to Tono. Morning, Inui-kun. Oh wait, fuck. It's happening again. Morning, Inui-kun. Yumizuka looks away with an unenthusiastic reply. I guess she isn't the type who would respond well to a guy like him. With Arihiko interrupting Shiki and Yumizuka's conversation, the talk deviates to discussing the serial killings in town. The talk ends when the school bell rings. Hey, class is about to begin. Hurry up and get back to your seat. With a yeah, Arihiko go back to his seat. I'm pretty sure this all happened exactly the same. See you later, Tono-kun. Yeah. Sorry for keeping you, Yumizuka-san. I guess we just talk to her more. Her light footsteps tap across the floor as she returns to my desk, or to her desk. Yes, she has returned to my desk. We're going to switch seats. Second period is over. Our homeroom teacher, who's also our math teacher, calls out to me as he leaves. Tono, your documents are missing some details. Please go visit the office. It shouldn't take long, so I'll head to the office before third period starts. The office is on the first floor. The second year classroom is on the third floor, but I could make it back before third period starts if I run. And I ran so far away. I just ran. I couldn't get away. The impact floors me with a thud. My head hits something and the world swims before my eyes. Ow, 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 ow. I hear a voice nearby. It's a woman's voice. I've never heard before. Looks like I ran into someone. I'm sorry, are you alright? I still can't see my surroundings too well, but I apologize to the person I hit. Yes, I'm alright. How about you? Are you okay? There's no trace of accusation in that gentle voice. I don't know who she is, but it seems like she's worried about me. Yeah, I'm also okay. I shake my head and stand up. Finally, I can see clearly. Oh, it's Ciel. Are you really alright? Your forehead is swelling up. Huh? I feel a prickle of pain when I try to touch it with my hand. Just like she said, I'm developing a magnificent lump. I am so sorry. I was not paying attention to where I was going. Your forehead must really hurt, right? The female student gazes apologetically at my face. From the formal way she spoke, I assumed she was a first year, but from the color of her ribbon, I can see she's a third year. In other words, my senpai. No, it's fine, really. I'm the one at fault. I'm sorry for bumping into you, senpai. I lower my head in a bow. Ah, come to think of it, you're right. We shouldn't be running down the hallways, you know? There are people like me spaced out while looking down at the courtyard. Yes, I'll be more careful. Are you alright, senpai? Yes, I only fell. It's because you ran into the wall while trying to avoid hitting me, Toto-kun. Really? No wonder I'm seeing stars. I'm lucky to get off with just a bump after running into a wall at that speed. Sorry about that, but spacing out in the hallway is also dangerous, senpai. Yes, I'll be more careful. Senpai smiles and nods. It's an honest smile. Excuse me, I'd best be going. Beating the dust off my pants, I begin walking towards the office. But the older student continues to watch me through her glasses. Wait, just who is she? I was distracted because I ran into her, but come to think of it, she's beautiful. If she's this beautiful, the male students would be talking about a third-year beauty wearing glasses. I'm going now. You should go back to your classroom too, senpai. If you're in any pain, please come to my classroom. I'm Tono from the second year, third class. I'll take responsibility. She nods. Even though she's older than me, it's like dealing with someone younger. Alright. If anything happens, I'll come to your classroom at lunchtime. Remember, Shiki-kun, you mustn't run in the hallways. Okay, but you shouldn't space out in the hallways either, senpai. With that, I wave my hand and leave. Wait, Shiki-kun? I haven't told her my first name. Come to think of it, did she use my name earlier too?
With Shiki unfamiliar with this particular upper-class woman, Ciel does her thing and Shiki starts to remember her. After they part ways, we skip to lunchtime, where we can decide where to eat. Out of the 3 options, I decided this time to just eat in the classroom. While various students either head for the cafeteria or elsewhere with boxed lunches, some girls in the class put their desks together to eat in the room. Shiki himself only has some bread and milk. Oh, and one Arihiko too. Arihiko is a bit depressed that it's just the 2 of them, and that they don't have a girl to hang out with. Shiki points out that they could join the girls that put their desks together, but he declines as he considers the group, quote, poisonous, unquote, within a weird flower analogy that he's been using. He does mention that there is one girl who towers over the others, and when she walks in, it turns out that Arihiko was talking about Ciel. With her entrance, I was worried I messed up somehow and ended up resetting my save to try the other options, but the main difference is meeting Ciel in the cafeteria, so I decided to continue the option of eating in the classroom.
With a boxed lunch in one hand, there is no way I could mistake her. Hello, Tono-kun. Mind if I interrupt? It's fine, of course. Smiling, Ciel-senpai brings over a chair and sits down naturally. Senpai, are you hurt? No, I'm not hurt at all. Even her smiling reply troubles me. You said to come here at lunchtime, so I thought I'd be rude if I did not. That's true, I said that, but what I intended to say was that she could come and I would take responsibility if she ended up being hurt. Senpai! Arihiko slams the table with a bang as he stands up. Inui-kun. Could it be that you and Tono-kun are acquainted? Yeah, we're more than casual acquaintances. Tono and I have been friends since we were kids. Right, Tono? You could even say we were best friends. Arihiko makes a tight fist for emphasis. There's no room for agreement or disagreement. Oh, really? It's such a coincidence that you two are friends. It sure is. This bastard has such a calm face, I'm wondering just when did he start to get along with Senpai? Arihiko glares at me while laughing towards Senpai. Absent-mindedly, I wonder if that's what you'd call being well-rounded.
With that, the conversation moves to each person's living situation and Shiki's anemia, but it is worded differently if you wish to read it. However, there is one noticeable difference in this scene. After Shiki mentions not wanting to be a burden to the Arimas, he turns away from Arihiko and Ciel.
There's nothing I wasn't satisfied with, it's just that I've received so much from them already, I didn't want to be a further burden on them. I turn away, and all of a sudden, I realize Yumizuka is close by. Okay, this is different. I was about to start skipping, and then I was like, here it is. Her eyes look like she wants to say something, but it seems like she can't bring herself to intrude. What's wrong, Yumizuka-san? I leave Arihiko and Senpai and call out to Yumizuka. I have something to talk to you about. Is now a good time? Sure. Can we talk here? Yumizuka's eyes flicker towards Arihiko. It seems Yumizuka isn't good at dealing with him. Is it alright if we discuss this in the hallway? I don't mind. I'm leaving for a while, Arihiko. Waving to Arihiko and Senpai, I exit with Yumizuka into the hallway. He probably liked that, TBH. So what did you want to ask me? I'm sorry if I was wrong about this, but have you been walking around at night in the business district lately? Huh? Business district? I rarely go there even in the daytime, let alone the nighttime. Her question is so entirely off that I'm interested instead. At night, you say? Around what time? From what I've heard, past midnight. Midnight. Well, that rules that out completely. I occasionally go out to the business district at night to buy something, but I've never been out in the city that late before. That's definitely not me. My household is old-fashioned, so they've got a curfew at 7. You can't get in after that, even if you cry. Since I don't want to have to camp outside, I try to my death to get home before 7. I'm upfront in denying Yumizuka's question. She smiles happily. Yeah, I know. The Arima family is also the head of a style of tea ceremony. That's right. It must be really strict for you, Tono-kun. Not so much strict as they like to tease me, eh? Yumizuka-san, you seem to know quite a bit. Are you a student of it? No. I don't really know that much about tea ceremony. I have a friend who goes there and she told me it was really strict. Oh, but Yumizuka-san, how did you know I lived with the Arimas? I haven't even told anyone here at our high school. You've forgotten that we went to the same middle school together, haven't you? Yumizuka giggles as she speaks. Eh? We went to the same middle school? I can't remember, so I can't say anything, but if that's true, then it wouldn't be odd if she knew I was entrusted to the Arimas. Yumizuka-san, maybe, It's okay, as long as it's not you, Tono-kun. Sorry for interrupting your lunch. Interrupting my words, Yumizuka Satsuki goes back into the classroom after saying this. Oh, fuck, I just realized that when all that fighting's going on and, like, she comes out, that's totally her. And she totally sees him and, like, freezes for a second, and she totally dies because of it. She's at least already interested, so she's probably going out at night to try and see these things. That's rough. Like, I already knew it was her that she died, but now it's like, oh, she was worried about us.
Back in the classroom, Arihiko brings up unprompted that Yumizuka attended their middle school. The three were even in the same class their second and third years. A stunned Shiki asks how he knew his question, and Arihiko responds that his face gave it away.
Because of that look on your face. But damn, I thought you were just ignoring her, but you actually didn't even notice her. She's really persistent. Or maybe she's just eccentric. She's had to suffer a lot. Arihiko makes a difficult face and shrugs. I knew it. She is Tono-kun's girlfriend, right? What are you saying, senpai? There's no way that could be. I've never even had a proper conversation with her. No, there's no use hiding it. You two look like you get along very well. I'm a little jealous. What's making her so happy? What's making her so happy? Senpai looked at me with an excited expression. Senpai! Arihiko, you say something to this confused person here, too. About what? I don't know what you and Yumizuka are up to. All I know is that you two were having a merry conversation this morning. Yeah! A secret meeting at school in the morning. How bold of you, Tono-kun. Senpai is getting more and more worked up in an incomprehensible way. Well, whatever. After all, it doesn't matter to me if Senpai misunderstands. But you mustn't be so blunt to her, Tono-kun. Yumizuka-san looks kind of sad, doesn't she? You've got to give her more of your attention. Senpai, lunch is going to end soon. Yes. See you later, Tono-kun. Inui-kun. Smiling, Senpai leaves our classroom. I feel a little exhausted. Tono, don't go after Yumizuka. Arihiko mumbles this with a stern face. Don't go after? Why? Listen, about Yumizuka. Despite her appearance, she's really shy and single-minded. She's not compatible at all with someone absent-minded like you. That kind of girl is dangerous to get involved with. Arihiko goes back to his own seat. What is he talking about? It's not like I'm thinking of doing something with Yumizuka-san. I mutter to no one in particular and sit down in my own seat.
At the end of the school day, the setting sun permeates the room, and Shiki discusses his distaste for the color red. We are then given a choice to either leave for the mansion or to stick around at school for a little longer. Since we went with the latter in Ciel's route, I opted this time to leave right away. Shiki makes his way through the main entrance. He realizes that he'll be using this entrance instead of the back entrance starting tomorrow. Arriving at an intersection, he figuratively runs into Yumizuka. Shiki is initially flustered after Ciel's comments from earlier, but he manages to reply to her greeting. Yumizuka asks why he's walking down this path after school, and Shiki explains that his new house is this way. Yumizuka blushes as she remembers their conversation from earlier in the day.
Your real house? You mean the Tono-san mansion? Yeah, I don't think it really suits me either. I see. You're really a prince on top of a hill after all. It was a secret only Inui-kun and I knew, but now I guess everyone's going to find out. With a faint smile, Yumizuka casts her gaze into the direction. She looks out at the horizon, as if looking at the Tono mansion off in the distance on top of the hill. But will you be alright? Even if it's your house, you've been away for 8 years, right? Aren't you afraid or worried? Yeah, I'm actually kind of uneasy. I never liked that mansion to begin with, and now it's going to feel like someone else's house too. But still, I can't lead a carefree life on my own and leave my sister Akiha there all by herself. No matter how uneasy I am, I have to return to the mansion. In the end, it's still my home. I think it's only natural for me to go back. I see. Sorry for stopping you, Tono-kun. You must be in a hurry, right? No, not really. I was just having a stroll on the way home. Ah, I see. For some reason, Yumizuka looks downcast and falls silent. What's wrong, Yumizuka-san? Are you feeling sick? I break the silence, but she continues to stare downwards without raising her head. I just can't leave her there, so I continue to stand there, looking at her. And then... Yeah, what is it? I'm going home along the same way as you, until we reach the hill. Really? Then let's go together for the part of the way. Eh? Yumizuka's eyes widen, and she stands there stiffly for a moment. Yeah, you're right. We're going back the same way, so it wouldn't be strange for us to go together for part of the way, right? She says all this with an excessively cheerful voice and stands right beside me. Just at the right time, too. I'm not too familiar with the streets around here, so would you mind guiding me? Sure. Well then, let's go down this street. It's a back street that leads all the way to the street of the hill. Damn, this girl is freaking scoring in all fucking targets. I messed all of my things. I walk home while chatting with Yumizuka. Talking to Yumizuka isn't anything particularly special, but it is enjoyable in a peaceful kind of way. Despite what Arihiko had said, Yumizuka Satsuki has a gentle air about her, and I feel safe being around her. Woohoo! While we were talking, Yumizuka suddenly laughs as if she remembered something. What is it all of a sudden? Did I say something funny? No, that's not it. It's just that starting tomorrow, I'll be taking the same route to school as you. She laughs, looking truly happy. That honest, smiling face is enough to make me happy as I watch her. I didn't realize it up until now. Even putting her looks and mannerisms aside, Yumizuka Satsuki is kind of cute. I slowly beginning to understand why the boys in our class have been so worked up over her for so long now. Our conversation ceases. I'm simply fascinated by Yumizuka's smile, and the two of us fall silent. Without saying anything, we walk towards the residential district in the sunset. Suddenly... Hey, do you remember what happened during the winter vacation of our second year of middle school? Yumizuka murmurs. Huh? I tilt my head to one side. The winter vacation of the second year of middle school was when I had applied to stay for an extra lessons at school because I felt bad about staying at the Arimas. I remember it well enough, but I still don't understand why she asked me about it. Just as a thought, someone like Tono-kun would never have remembered. Disappointed, Yumizuka's shoulders droop. Oh no. There were 2 sports sheds at our middle school, remember? One was a new shed used by the big clubs, and the other one was an old house used by the smaller clubs like badminton. The old shed had a certain problem where the alignment of the door was so bad that there were often times where it wouldn't open. Old shed. That little concrete building at the back of the gymnasium? Ah, that shed. The one which they stopped using after some students got trapped inside. Yeah, that's the one. The students were second years from the badminton club. Ah, yeah, something like that did happen. It was early in the year, on a cold winter's day. The first 3 days of the new year having passed, I applied for extra lessons and requested to stay behind at school and helped out because I felt bad about staying at the Arimas. But even that was only until 5 in the evening. It had become dark and I was forced out of the classrooms as all the teachers were going home. The middle of winter. Even if it was only 5, the surroundings really had darkened. The weather report had predicted snow for that day and the cold was extremely harsh. And so, just when I had decided to head straight home for the day, I heard a banging sound from the old shed and I went to go check things out. Is anyone in there? I asked, and I heard the voices of several female students in reply from inside the shed. They had been trapped in there for 2 hours. While packing up the club equipment, they had closed the door because of the cold and now it won't open again. They couldn't open the door no matter what and wanted to call one of the teachers for help. But the teachers had all gone home. Even if I were to call them now on the phone, it'd be at least another hour. Isn't that why they have like a teacher that's like assigned to a club so this shit doesn't happen? Unless the teacher's in there too, in which case that's just upsetting. The cold on that day was truly terrible. And the kind of cold that should have prompted snow, I thought it would be cruel to leave these girls stuck in the shed wearing only their PE uniforms for another hour. After some hesitation and confirming that no one else was around, I took off my glasses and cut the line on the shed door. The door opened and about 5 female students, eyes red from crying, poured out. Come to think of it, there was something like that, but I'm surprised you knew about it. The captain of the trap badminton club told me, this has to do with the club's survival, so don't tell anyone. It was almost like she was threatening me. Oh, Tono-kun, you had no interest in knowing who was trapped inside there, did you? Listen, I was one of the badminton club members. Yumizuka sounds like she's pouting. So in other words, I still remember it well. When I think about it now, it was only being trapped inside a shed, but at the time it was cold and dark, and I was really worried. Everyone thought we were going to freeze to death like that. My stomach was growling from hunger too. I was just about to collapse. That must have been rough. I can't really empathize with her, so I give her a half-hearted response. Unconcerned, Yumizuka continues her recollections, bringing up old events anew. And just when everyone was trembling, you came along and asked, is anyone there? In your usual unexcited voice. And then the captain got angry and shouted, can't you tell just by looking? Do you remember? Yeah, I remember. There was a loud bang when she threw a bat at the door. I was really surprised. That's right, Yumizuka says, laughing. But when we heard all the teachers had gone home, we really lost all hope. We couldn't stand by being there for even a minute longer, and yet we had to face the prospect of being trapped until the next day. And just when we were thinking about how miserable the world was, you knocked on the door and said, I might be able to get the door open if you can keep a secret. Yeah. And then I heard another bang, and someone said, if it opened that easily, we wouldn't be suffering in here. She was really angry. Yeah, that captain felt responsible for us getting trapped, so she didn't have much patience to spare. But soon after, the door opened. Everyone was happy that the captain's knocking with the bat must have worked and ran outside, but I was watching you aimlessly stand by the door. Yumizuka looks at me warmly. But that only troubles me. To me, it meant nothing, so I can't really appreciate her gratitude. I was crying really hard at the time. My eyes just felt like they were swelling up, and they looked terrible. What do you think you said when you saw me look like that? Or you saw me like that? I don't know. What did I say? I really don't remember, so I asked, as if it was something someone else had done. Despite this, Yumizuka still looks at me happily. You put your hand on my head and said, hurry up and go home and eat some ozoni. Ozoni? Ozoni. I'm calling it ozoni. I was a little embarrassed because I was trembling so much from the cold. I knit my brows. I don't know what I meant back then. I think you meant for me to warm up my body by having some ozoni. I see. It was right after New Year's, after all. That does sound like the stupid kind of thing I would say. Now that it's put to me like this, I regret not having picked something better to say. Back then, I thought, there are plenty of reliable people at school, but if I ever really need to be saved, it will be someone like Tono-kun who saves me. You're exaggerating. Look, it's like how a baby chick thinks the first human it meets is its mother. I just happened to help you. That's not true. Ever since then, I really believed that you'd come and help me no matter what the problem was. Her expression is quite resolute. You're giving me too much credit, Yumizuka-san. I'm not that reliable of a person. It's alright. That's what I believe, so let me keep believing it. She pronounces this while staring straight at me. I am too embarrassed to offer a rebuttal. Well, I guess you can believe what you want. Isn't that right? So if I'm ever in a pinch, you'll come and help me, right? Yumizuka asks me, smiling. To be honest, that would be kind of troubling. Despite what she thinks, I'm not the sort of guy who can do everything. I'm not... But when she faces me with that smile, I don't want to destroy the faith that she has in me. Yeah, if it's within my power, I'll help you. Yep. Thank you, Tono-kun. I know it's a bit late to say this, but I was really happy because of what you said to me back then. Saying that, Yumizuka suddenly stops. Naturally, I stop too. I've always wanted to talk to you like this, Tono-kun. Somewhere in her voice was a hint of wistfulness. Perhaps it's because of the red light from the sunset, but somehow Yumizuka looks lonely. What do you mean? You can talk to me anytime. No, I can't. Inui-kun is always around you, and besides, I can't become someone like you, Tono-kun. With that reserved answer, Yumizuka draws away from me. Well, my house is this way, so I'll see you at school tomorrow. Bye-bye! Smiling, Yumizuka waves her hand and begins walking down another street. Bro, this hurts even more now!
Now alone, Shiki continues towards the mansion, where he reminisces about his family. It's all the same as before, until Shiki mentions the fading memories of his time at the mansion. Despite this degradation, there is one memory that is still sharply preserved in his mind. We are then given two options. First, about my little sister Akiha, or about the cheerful girl. Since I was curious as to who the cheerful girl is, I selected it, and Shiki explains that Akiha and himself were not the only children at the mansion. Two girls, twins, who did not have any family. Shiki's father Makihisa took them in to work as servants. He can't remember their names, but he closes his eyes to think about them more.
I close my eyes and cast my mind back. I should be able to remember. She was a girl who was always cheerful. So cheerful that you would become cheerful just by looking at her. A girl with a carefree personality who was loved by everyone at the mansion. Because she was close to my age, I got along with her well, and it seemed like every day we would run around the garden together. Let's play together, Shinki-chan, she would say, and I could remember her taking me out of my room after I secluded myself inside. She would often laugh and take shy Akiha's hand and trying to make her play with us. Maybe she was older than the both of us. She would guide me and Akiha to play together, but once we started playing, she would just watch over us. Even Akiha's tutor, the harsh butler, would say, I don't mind as long as it's with you guys, and let Akiha out to play, as if there was no helping it. We don't know who it is. In contrast to that girl was the other one. On the second floor. While we played in the garden, there was always a girl looking down at us every time I turned to look at the mansion. She was the twin of that cheerful girl, but she would always gaze at us expressionlessly. That girl would never try to leave the house. All she would do was watch us with those cold eyes. Well, in the end, I only ended up talking a little with her. I wonder if those girls are still at the mansion. While I think about it, I take a white ribbon out of my bag. An old white ribbon that the girls gave me at the very end.
8 years ago, after I was involved in the accident, the day I was entrusted to the Arima family, right before I was to leave the mansion, the girl gave me this for some reason. I'm just lending it to you, so be sure to return it. Saying something along those lines, she ran off. Afterwards, I was quickly found by one of the servants and taken to the front entrance. With no one to see me off, I walked out of the gates of that giant mansion while the Arima lady held my hand. It was the last memory of when I left the Tono mansion 8 years ago.
I put the ribbon back in my bag. But it's been 8 years after all. Not only do I not know if they're still at the mansion, I can't even remember their names. To make things worse, I can't even remember which girl gave me the ribbon. Still, it's not like it was some important promise or anything. But I want to keep the promise as long as I remember. I agree to return to the mansion because Akiha is now there all by herself. I left her there for 8 years, pushing all responsibility onto her while I selfishly lived freely. I'm going back because I feel guilty for what I did to her. I didn't expect to plan to use this opportunity to do so, but if that girl is still at the mansion, I want to properly fulfill the promise from 8 years ago.
Arriving at the gate, Shiki is astounded at the size. He makes his way to the door, and when it opens, he is greeted by a red-haired maid. It's Kohaku, who's happy that he's finally made it, as she was getting a bit worried.
Oh, please don't scare me like that. I was beginning to think I had made another mistake back there. She gives a good-natured laugh. I have no basis for this, but she fits the image perfectly. Could it be that you're the girl who played together with us when we were small? I inquire tentatively. She gives a full smile, looking truly happy. Come, you must be tired, right? Please do come in. Akiha-sama is waiting for you in the sitting room. The girl quickly crosses the lobby and heads towards the sitting room. Turning back as if she just remembers something, she makes a bow, a full smile on her face. Welcome home, Shiki-sama. Her entirety of Greece. Her greeting is accompanied by her flower-like smile. I can't think of any reply, so I just follow her hesitantly.
With his question unanswered, he is brought to the sitting room, where Akiha and Hisui are waiting. Their conversation goes as well as it did during the last route. Once again, there are 4 people in the mansion: Akiha, Shiki, Kohaku, and Hisui, with Hisui being assigned to Shiki as his personal servant. Shiki's objections to this fail once Akiha points to his inability to cook or clean his clothes. Shiki is then led to his room by Hisui, and we get a brief breakdown of the mansion. At his new room, Shiki questions if it's the same room that he had 8 years ago, and Hisui answers yes, or rather, that is what she has been told. Shiki himself feels no connection to the room, but he tries to relax nonetheless. When Hisui mentions the lack of luggage sent from the Arimas, Shiki responds that he didn't own too much, and he then takes inventory of his personal items.
I see. No, I don't need anything more for now. I didn't have much luggage to begin with. My luggage is just in this bag, these glasses, and the textbook in my bag, and the white ribbon with an unidentified owner. That's all. Ah, that's right. I haven't asked her the important thing yet. Can I ask you something, Hisui? Yes. What is it, Shiki-sama? I'm sorry if I'm mistaken about this, but you and Kohaku-san are sisters, right? For an instant, surprise flashes in Hisui's expressionless eyes. Yes, Kohaku is my older sister. Really? Great! Then this means you two must be the girls who once lived here. I'm so happy that I inadvertently raised my voice. In direct contrast to my joy, Hisui did not move. Hisui? You and Kohaku-san were the children taken in here, aren't you? We used to play together. I wonder if you remember. I close my mouth as soon as I speak. No, the girl I had played together with was the bright and cheerful one. The one who just gazed at us with the cold eyes has to be... I played with your sister quite often. Hisui? Yes, I know. 2 years before you went to the Arima household, Makihisa-sama took in Nissan and I. Hisui speaks as if disinterested. It's good that I know Hisui and Kohaku-san are sisters from my memories, but it seems Hisui doesn't think much of it. I see. I didn't talk to you much. I'm sorry for getting so worked up. You have nothing to apologize for, Shiki-sama. I must also apologize for my rudeness to you when I was younger. Hisui lowers her head. I feel really uneasy. I know Hisui doesn't mean to make me feel bad, but I don't know how to respond when a girl the same age as me says that to me. Do you have any other requests, Shiki-sama? No, nothing in particular. Very well. I shall come to call you in an hour's time. Please relax until then. As expected, Hisui says everything with an expressionless face. By 1 hour later, she must mean dinner. But even if she tells me to relax, how would I do that here? The clock says it's around 6 o'clock. Usually I'd be watching TV in the sitting room around this time, but I'm having serious doubts as to whether there's any such thing in this mansion.
Shiki proceeds to ask about a TV in the mansion, with Hisui saying there is not. She does mention that if there were, they would have been taken by the mansion's now-gone guests. At Shiki's request, she tells of the mansion's previous guests. As she does so, Shiki remembers that there is a library, so he could kill time by reading. Hisui then remembers that Kohaku in fact has a TV, and though Shiki thanks her, he says he'd feel weird bothering Kohaku just to use her TV. We then cut to dinner, one of awkward silence and more awkward tension as Shiki and Akiha eat while the two servants stand behind them. Shiki has forgotten his table manners, so his errors are all the more noticeable in this situation. After dinner, Shiki goes to his room and we're given another choice. We can go see Akiha, we can go to Kohaku's room and use her TV, or stay in our room. I opt to stay in, even though I had done so in the previous route, as I knew that it would mean talking with Hisui again. Hisui does enter the room to make Shiki's bed, all the while Shiki sits in the corner of his room and chats with her. She explains the time of curfew and the rule against walking around after 10, all things we definitely did not heed in the last route. She also reiterates that herself and Kohaku are servants who help around the mansion, reinforcing this high-class life Shiki finds himself in. He also tries to get her to just call him Shiki, but Hisui still calls him Shiki-sama.
Anyway, that's how it is. Don't be so formal towards me. I'll be grateful if you tell that to your sister Kohaku-san too. Very well, as you say, Shiki-sama. Expressionless, Hisui bows her head. She completely failed to understand. I will be leaving now. Please rest for tonight. Bowing, Hisui puts her hand on the doorknob. Oh, I forgot to ask something. Hold on for a second. Rushing toward the door, I put my hand on Hisui's shoulder before she leaves. In an instant, Hisui's arm pushes away my arm with an incredible momentum. With a whack, she slaps my hand and leaps back. It's so sudden that's the only thing I can say. Hisui is expressionless, but she glares at me fiercely. Did I just do something wrong? I am very sorry. Hisui's voice sounds very nervous. I am not used to being touched. Please forgive me. Hisui's shoulders are faintly trembling. I feel like I just did something really terrible. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize without thinking. I don't understand why myself. I just feel sorry for Hisui and I lower my head. Hisui says nothing. I get the feeling her stare is calm again. You have nothing to apologize for, Shiki-sama. I am the one to blame. No, well, maybe, but I scratch my head. Hisui stares at me, pausing only to blink for a second. What is it you wanted to ask me, Shiki-sama? That's right. I stopped Hisui because I wanted to ask her something. Oh, I wanted to ask about Akiha. Doesn't she go to a boarding school? That was only during middle school, Shiki-sama. From this year onwards, Akiha-sama has special permission to attend school from home. Ah, you mean she goes to school from here? Yes, but it is uncommon for her to come home before dusk like today. Akiha-sama has practice up until dinner, so she is always home before 7. Practice? Practice what? Today is Thursday, so she would have violin practice. Usually she is able to return before dinner on weekdays, so if you have anything to say to Akiha-sama, please let Nissan know after dinner. Hisui bows to say goodbye and leaves the room. Violin practice? What on earth is that? She's not some upper-class lady or anything, so why should she have to do something as bothersome as... Oh wait, she is an upper-class lady. Yes. Come to think of it, my sister, Tono Akiha, is a natural-born upper-class lady. In my memories, she's always the obedient, ever-uneasy sister constantly following me around. As a child, she was always quiet, never having even the courage to express her own desires. She was a frail girl who would always live in a fear of a scolding from our father. Yeah, people really do change after 8 years. After 8 years, I've become the me I am now. Akiha has become the person she is right now, too. 8 years is a long time. It's half of our lives up until now. I was absent from this mansion during the vital period where a child becomes an adult. I'm sorry, Akiha. I think things would have been better if I had been with her during those 8 years. I unknowingly mumble an apology.
It is now late at night, and the howling of dogs billow over the mansion. As Shiki reaches his wit's end, we are, surprisingly, given a choice. Should we check it out, or just go back to sleep?
Doesn't seem like I can go back to sleep at this rate. Nah, fuck that shit. The howling continues. There's no way I can sleep like this. I can't sleep, but that's just normal. I'm sleepy, so I'll pass. Pulling the sheets over me, I stretch out on the bed. I can just think of the howling as the sound of something mundane, like cars driving by on the street. Today's been a very long day. I'm mentally tired from eating dinner in this unfamiliar mansion and my conversations with Akiha and everyone else. After all of that, the howling is just background noise. I close my eyes and gently fall asleep.
I have a nostalgic dream. The end of summer, 8 years ago. After I was injured, I was taken to that hospital where no one ever visited and met Sensei. Upon returning to the mansion, I heard from my old man that I would be taken in by a family I had never heard of. Everything happened so fast. Right after the day I left the hospital, I ended up going to the Arima household. There was not a single cloud in the blue sky that day, the start of autumn. I was led away from the Tono mansion. But a little before that girl had come to see me, sneaking past the eyes of the adults. "When you're about to leave, please come to the tree in the rear courtyard." After being told that, I snuck out from under my old man's eye and out to the rear courtyard. The sky was blue. Below that deep blue sky that seemed to extend forever, she waited for me. As far as I knew, this was the first time she had left the mansion to come outside. "Take this." Saying that, she undid the ribbon that bound her hair and handed it to me. I guess it was her farewell gift to me, but as a child, I didn't even feel happy about it. After all, what kind of a 9-year-old boy would feel happy about receiving a ribbon? "That ribbon is my favorite, so give it back to me later, okay?" But those were the words that saved me. "Give it back," she said. "Come back," is what I heard from those words. Just that was good enough for me. That last day, with no one to even see me off. For her, who I had never even spoken to say that to me, it made me happy. But I could not say, "I'll definitely return it." As clever as I was at the time, I realized I would never be able to return to this mansion ever again. Those were the only words we exchanged. Something about her icy eyes was very sorrowful. It was time, so I began walking towards the doorway. The girl just stood there like a doll, watching me leave. A distant dream of what happened on one fine day, under the cloudless blue sky. That dream brings us to the end of this part of Tsukihime. We've learned quite a bit more about Shiki's classmate Yumizuka, and about Shiki himself. An 8-year promise lives in his heart, and he hopes to finally be able to fulfill it. I leave you now, but next time on Tsukihime, we will continue with Chapter 2, Inversion Impulse 2. I will see you then.